Movie notes on 12 Strong, 2018 film, 29 November 2024 viewing. I am Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle, and just finished viewing this today, Friday, 29 November 2024. For my viewing of this movie, I have seen it before this viewing, as it's a biographical film about a group of United States of America Special Forces who are sent to Afghanistan following the 11 September 2001 attacks to pursue one of the organizations deemed potentially partially responsible for the attacks. So there's a little bit of build-up. There's like with a sequence at the beginning of kind of like up to this point, and then there's these attacks, and then let's go get the guys. And so they are sent in after the Taliban in relation to the attacks/war on terror. There was also Al-Qaeda, but was that Iraq? So there was like, so essentially, I wrote these messages. Afghanistan was the country the United States of America was able to act on immediately in regards to the attacks, whereas Iraq/Iran required escalation to the Iraq war to attack/pursue the responsible parties in. So essentially there are these attacks. Okay, they were this group, but then were they also this group, and so the United States of America could act in Afghanistan, whereas it was not actually possible to act like in the same capacity at the same time in Iraq. So I was watching this and I was like putting that together, and I was like, because I'm like, I'm getting these movies, you know, and reading these books and stuff, and I'm like, okay, there's Iraq, and I get Iraq, and then there's Afghanistan, and okay, so there's a dynamic there of like, they really wanted Iraq, but they couldn't act on Iraq, they could act on Afghanistan. Okay. Getting that right, like, and because I'm reading this John McCain autobiography, and I'm like realizing at any given point, the United States of America has its fingers in like 50 different countries, you know, conflicts and stuff like that. And so I'm going, okay, that's actually helping in putting this together. No, there were like multiple things going on, and they were like, we can act here, but we can't act here, but we need to act here. You know that, like, it was like, okay, I'm getting it. It's like the stock market thing, where there's like multiple markets, and one can be in a bear market and one can be in a bull market, but they're like, it depends on the market, and different markets have different cycles and stuff like that. It's like, okay, there's multiple storylines, and they could act on one but not the other right away. I could like can connect those dots with, but that's not what happened or not. Like, I'm just like, okay, progress on my own mental structure. Okay, and then there's a scene here. So the Taliban kill a female who taught local young ladies or children English, including how to spell giraffe, Giraffe, and the number 120, so 120, which has Holy Babel meaning. So we've learned from Kabul 24 that that's a no-no. Don't go pushing those biblical animals or that kind of stuff. So it's like I appreciated watching this after Kabul 24, because I'm like, yeah, that. Okay, so perhaps the movie makers decided to include this scene in the movie as it was identified as a problematic female type in the United States of America as well. That is, perhaps it represents a shared problem. So yeah, that's the thing actually got me thinking a little bit about like how these are made and how they choose like what to include. Like a bunch is cut out. This is only, you know, 2 hours and 10 minutes, whereas the story was much longer. So there's the vast majority of it is missing, as with any movie or any book and stuff like that, right? So they have to trim it down. And so it's like, when including something like that, where they show kind of who they kill and who they target, right? I'm guessing they're not going to be promoting the Taliban's mission, right? So there's going to be inclusion of something that means something to the movie makers as well. So I would guess it's like a shared problem, if you can figure out what the shared problem might be, which gets me to the library situations to getting this film. I was like, oh, was that a problematic female type in correlation? All right, so I put this on hold, and there was a Richmond Beach copy, the Richmond Beach Library, which is where I typically go. Not always, but there's another library that way, Shoreline Library, that's not too far away, that I frequent at least on occasion. But they're both in the city of Shoreline. which is where I currently reside, in the city of Seattle, kind of thing. Anyway, point being, so they said that it was ready for me to pick up, so which means like in theory, they pulled it off the shelf, put a slip in it, and put it on the hold shelf, so I go in and pick it up, and it was missing. It wasn't there. And so I looked at that, I went over, checked the section, and like the DVDs, and it wasn't there. So then I asked the person at the desk, I was like, it's not there, but it says it's ready. So then they searched, and they, the person I told, and she looked, and she went and checked the DVDs and stuff and couldn't find it, and so reported it as missing in the system, and then sent a different copy, which ended up being the Bellevue copy, this copy that I watched. But I was like, so some person decided to frame me for theft, right? I didn't come and pick it up, or I stole it, or something like that, and tied it to my name, right? That's a big no-no for me, and like, right, like that person, right? Maybe that's the problematic female type being portrayed here, is people who are unprofessional, in the sense of they are at work, they steal from the employer or where they work, right? A female type, where one form of being unprofessional is not doing their job / following the law in regards to like not stealing or taking property of their employer, much less framing the patrons of the business, right? So there we go. And then I was like, okay, what are repercussions of this story? So it was kind of an initiation of people being over in Afghanistan and Iraq and stuff like that. Again, I mean, there was the Gulf War and stuff like that, but like in regards to the 11 September 2001 attacks. So what are some repercussions of this story? It was like, how bizarre can I make it? You know, because stuff just can work in a bizarre way sometimes. Okay, I got two things that came to mind. One, physical therapy in general goes out of business as people learn to take care of themselves. Yes, people become more self-reliant, including in just basic, like, I know what to do or not do before a run, or after a run, or during a run, so that my body doesn't ache and pain itself. I can take care of myself. I'm capable of being self-sufficient. Some of us are able of doing that. I don't know if I've ever had physical therapy. I don't think I have. And I haven't had an injury in a chunk of time, which is kind of, I've really gotten on top of that, but have a lot of people. Yep. So maybe we can, maybe they do. So there's one other one. My mom runs a Sunday school and sings in the choir at church. She goes, you know what, I'm going to take initiative. I really want to interact with kids, and I really want to use my voice. So she goes and runs a Sunday school and sings in the choir at church. Ever fit. All right, she's got sticky fingers for children, and she just loves to harmonize. You know, another way of phrasing it. So there we go. This is my movie notes on 12 Strong, 2018 film, 29 November 2024 viewing.